everyone, welcome to Tonecast 104. Brian Porter here, joined by my long-lost friend Marco Gonzalez.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Glad to have you back on the show. It's been a couple episodes that we've been secretly recording without your knowledge, keeping the show going as it's been a crazy few weeks for all of us in the shop with vacations. One of our guys got married, and man, it's been wild. So we've got some cool stuff that we're about to talk about in this show. Just want to welcome all of you who have been following us on the YouTube channel. If you want to watch this, if you're listening on our Podbean or iTunes or anywhere you find this podcast, check out the YouTube version if you want to see what we look like while we talk about the topic. If you don't want to see what we look like, stay on the Podbean page. It's probably safer, right?
Yeah.
But definitely safer. But we have we have some kind of recaps of the last couple of weeks. First off, Marco, I don't want to say where have you been, but kind of what's been the latest in your world in the last couple of weeks since you've been sort of on the vacation from the show as well.
Yeah, well, I did have the chance to go to Mexico this last year, or I think it was even last summer, and my cousin was telling me he was getting married, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to be able to make that happen. And there's still a lot of my family that is still down there, and it's just cool to kind of, I went down there, and we've always made a habit of going down there, and everyone was like, oh, it's cool that you're going to get in touch with your roots. And I was like, yeah, that is what I'm doing. That is cool. Like,
right.
There's a different vibe down there, but there's still a lot of music down there, and there's so many musicians down there, and I was able to there was like they do, festival kind of things for the Saints Days and stuff. There's still a lot of music and stuff that happens for that, and so I was able to see a lot of big bands, and it was really inspiring in a different way, and just a good old recharge. We like to hunker down here, but it's good to take a step back, take a knee, kind of evaluate, and then kind of get back to it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I know you sent me a text picture of one of the guitars that you kind of have stashed down there at the family home or cousin's home or something.
Yeah.
Kind of an acoustic guitar that you keep down there to jam out. And I think you got some comments from family members on you're playing guitar now, and then just kind of the whole why are you still playing guitar? And you're like, well, it's kind of part of my life.
It's just kind of what I do, and I wanted to have a guitar down there that, I walked into this guitar shop and just played a bunch of them, and I was like, this one seems to be the best, and just to keep it down there, so when I go down there, there's at least an acoustic, right?
Yes.
Because I start to get a little antsy if I don't have some fret time, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah. That's
how I get my wiggles out.
That's awesome. That's cool that you kind of have a secret stash down there that you can access. And my wife and I ended up going to the Big Island over the last week or so. Been back for a couple of days here before this show. We had a great time there. Just again, the reset and the recharge. And both of us were talking recently. We love what we do here, and it's been a bit of a grind this year in terms of just new projects, and we're kind of chasing some new things on the business end of Porter. So I think that's been good for both of us to kind of have some time to stop and to reset. I think that's a great way you put it. Just kind of get your bearings back. It's definitely not this I need a break from pickups. It's just kind of changing the rhythm of life, and it's important to do that. We had Garrett Gardner on a couple shows ago about the mental health stuff and about taking a break from even stuff that you love and how that's important, and it's a good reminder. So we actually did it in practice in the last couple of weeks, both of us, and I think it's kind of coming back refreshed and renewed and even more excited about going forward. So one of the things that we did on the Big Island is we met with Wide Sky Guitars. If you're not familiar with Wide Sky Guitars, look them up. They're very fantastic guitars. We met Patch there, who is the owner of Wide Sky Guitars. Great place that he has. He's off the grid. He's catching his own rainwater, and he's got a little shop. And apparently there's some solar and everything, and he's figured out how to get enough power to run all the machinery. I was more fascinated with that than I was what tools he had. It's well, how do you power this? How do you do this? And so it was kind of cool. Completely different way of living. He was wanting to make a massive life change and just kind of get away from some of the normal stuff and really just made this massive jump. And we had to find his place in the jungle near Hilo on the Big Island, and that was an adventure in our little stupid Chevy Spark that we we rented. We barely made it through these like roads, and he said there might be running water, there might be a creek you have to drive through, and I'm like, oh no, we're gonna get the rental car stuck out in the woods. But we made it, and it was fantastic to meet with him. It was really cool to see his operation, his guitars. Check out Wide Sky Guitars if you get a chance. And the other stop we made was we actually made 2 more stops, but I'll just talk about Hawaiian ukulele and guitar. Ooh. So I sent you that picture of kind of the ukulele and guitar shop. There was a couple really cool like koa looking Strat builds in there, and a lot of like figured mango and koa little ukuleles, and just I love the wood, and I love the kind of history. Met the owners there at the shop and had a lot of great conversations, and probably be doing some business with them in the future, maybe some ukulele style pickups and some other cool projects we will have more conversations on in the future. So that was kind of my trip, and it was really good. It ended up being a lot more business conversations than I had expected, which is okay because I love guitar. My wife loves guitar, and we love kind of like promoting the business, but it was a lot more of just a relaxed kind of feel. It wasn't like a NAMM show or a sales trip or whatever. It's just kind of like, hey, this is who we are, and if you want to work together at some point, then let's do it. So that was the last few weeks. We're actually going to talk about some new gear stuff here in a minute, but Marco, we got to start off the show with what we do every show.
Yeah, I mean, as you all know and love, our pickup chooser is kind of a very in-depth look at your rig, and kind of we take our magnifying glass, and you can send a picture, and we'll kind of deduce what maybe symptoms you have that you would like to change, and what we can offer you, and kind of a more relaxed, like there's no commitment to buy, and it's super easy to access on porterpickups.com. It'll kind of like lead you right to it. And that's just kind of a good way that we like to reach out, and it's what we can do. I mean, we're, there's just so few of us here, but we really try to do what we can to, not just build the pickups, but on the other end, try and help people kind of get around these issues. I just had a guy, Don, that had some wiring issues with the 4-way telly, and, but we were able to get it all sorted out, and, we try and do what we can to take care of the people that support us and kind of believe in what we're doing. So if you want to just new pickup and you don't know what to get, maybe give that a try.
Definitely, yeah. And I just want to maybe add to that. Like, I think that's really cool that you mentioned just being helpful. I think that's something we've tried to do from the very start, and it's sort of made our own little path in the industry, if you will. And something too, just we get a lot of these forums, so be patient with us as we kind of work through filling out replies. And some of you that maybe have filled out forms, like we don't actually hear back from you if we reply to you. Sometimes even callbacks and things like that, we don't hear back. So if you've got that, just let us know that you've got the form. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes they might go to a spam folder as well. So if you do fill out a chooser form within about a week or so, check your spam folder too, for those who have done that, because people are often saying, oh, I'm ready to buy this, but I'm just trying to decide between this set, and then we never hear back from them. And I think it's just because of spam filters are getting tighter and tighter, and often they go there. So check your spam folder. Again, give us a little bit of time. We're probably pushing about a week at least on times to reply to those, because we want to give them the actual time that they deserve, because we're treating it like our guitar buddies that are asking us about stuff. So we want to give you a proper reply. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's in depth, sometimes we go through multiple calls and emails to kind of go back and forth to figure out what you want. But that is really what we do best here. Yeah. We really find you the right set. We want you to get the right set from the start. We don't want to have to, in truth, we don't want to have to remake a set a bunch of times, but knowing what we do and the experience that we have, that gives us a chance to get you a set that's usually right from the start. And I think that's important to us. So that's the chooser. Man, it's good to also get new gear. We are both the recipients of new gear. So I guess I'll start first.
Do the honors.
This was a weird new gear day for me because it actually happened while we were gone. So Marco got to experience the new gear day before I did, which was kind of fun, honestly, for me, just to see what happened. I thought about not saying anything and saying just a random guitar shows up.
But this must be a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. So I found a used Sur guitar, which it's Swamp Ash maple neck, and it's got the silent coil system, which we're having a lot of fun kind of checking out. Really great guitar. I had a Sur probably 10 years ago or so. So it's been a long time since I've owned a Sur guitar, but they're fantastic instruments. Both of us have been kind of like really gassing for one. I found a good deal on one, which is, it has been hard to find good deals. Honestly, some of the guitars are, I don't want to say overpriced, because I do think if it's for you, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a great price compared to what others are selling for. So been enjoying that. That's been really fantastic. All the pickups are wound in polarity the same way for the silent coil system to work, and we're gonna plan on gutting that thing and putting our own pickups in there and kind of maybe doing a video on that in the future. So that's what's new for me. I've been really enjoying it. Honestly, it's been sparking a lot of guitar inspiration just over the last couple days that I've been back, and just fun to play, fun to have something that you just want to pick up all the time. And so that's new for me. What about in your world? I know there's something cool that's been here for a little while, but you haven't brought it in yet, which I'm a little upset about.
I'm still wrapping my head around it. I'll have to bring it by.
Okay,
I'll bring it by next week.
All right, fine.
I'll get all the wiggles out this week. But so I did get one of the new Chase Bliss Habit pedals, and I've just been slowly trying to figure it out. I've got to where I can get it usable and really find some cool stuff, and it's still very inspirational. Every time I plug into it, there's still something that I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of like hooking me back into keeping playing. Like sometimes where you're like, oh, I'm done, I'm gonna go get a drink of water. It'll kind of hook you back in, and it's kind of, I don't know, sometimes it's kind of what I need, and I really appreciate that about that pedal. And I've started to use the expression pedal and all that, but it's just kind of a wonderful little yellow box. I didn't really like the yellow at first, and now I'm kind of like, hey, where's my yellow pedal at?
That's funny.
And yeah, so I'll have to bring it in and see. We'll have to do a Brian's first reaction video, I think.
First reaction video.
Because that actually sounds like a good video.
Okay, man.
We'll plug you in, and then you'll just be like,
I just
whoa.
can't listen to it before we start filming. That might be fun. Yeah, it's a good idea, actually.
But yeah, so more fun stuff with the Chase Bliss thing. And I mean, that's a pretty good segue, I guess, into the kind of the main topic. And because now I'm officially part of the Chase Bliss Club. I've always kind of looked at their pedals and been like, wow, there's probably a lot of cool sounds in there. But if you've kind of followed them on social media, you know that they kind of like made the decision to go direct to consumer as opposed to having like a dealer network and distribution kind of stuff laid out. And it was kind of like a serious post, and he's like, yeah, this is like a heavy decision to have to take. But in order to kind of be able to keep doing what we do, and that's kind of like we can't really like afford that margin being taken away or whatever. So yeah, it's like a big thing. And I know that there was a lot of like, if you're in the gear community, you probably heard about it, so it's like we're maybe even a little late to the party, but we want to kind of to let it sit and see what the reaction was. And yeah, now that I have a Chase Bliss pedal, I was like, oh, it's kind of relevant. It's weird how stuff kind of works out sometimes.
Yeah.
And it kind of is indicative of just kind of the times. And I mean, every business has been impacted by the last few years, and we're really starting to see that kind of stuff. And even, I know they were one of the companies that maybe was having a hard time getting like chips and stuff. So yeah, it's just kind of like, whoa, you're like, what's going on here? But that is kind of a facet of what we have to kind of deal with as gear companies. And we're like, oh yeah, huh.
Yeah, it makes me think about kind of I of course always pretend like I want to be objective about different situations, but this is really like you mentioned, kind of hit close to home in terms of how do you make everything work. I mean, one of the reasons that they listed was making sure everyone is continued to be paid and to adjust to the cost of materials. I mean, for us, just like things have gone up. If you've followed our podcast, we've had some many shows about the cost of goods and the cost of living and the things like that we have to deal with. And it feels to me like the last year and a half has been accelerating faster than almost that we can keep up, but almost like more than normal. As things get more and more expensive, it trickles down. And I think that they were dealing with, from the business side of things, I could see it making sense. I could see it also that how it's a challenging thing to announce, right? You have all these dealers, and some of them appeared very upset, which rightfully so, upset about, hey, we helped you build your brand, we sold your pedals, we showed them to customers, we made our own videos for your products, and then now you're kind of pulling the rug out from under us. But I also understand Chase Bliss's side, and I don't know that there's a middle ground here, and I think that for them to stand up and just make that decision, and I think they did a great job of explaining the decision. And as a business owner, you don't necessarily have to like defend every decision you make, but they did a really good job of just being truthful and transparent, saying, hey, we got to take care of our people, and this is one way to do it without continuing to raise the prices of pedals that are already very expensive. So I thought they handled it really well, to be honest. I think even some dealers were like, we're upset, but we understand. And it sounded like, wow, they've kind of built a little bit of a reputation of like, hey, we're not just doing this because it's like completely money, but the money part of it is part of the equation, and how you need to have what it takes. I mean, their company's grown, and they've got several employees, and now they're trying to figure out how to kind of fund the beast, if you will. So I don't know. I kind of think like, maybe what was your first reaction when you heard it? I think I maybe mentioned it to you the other day. What was your first reaction?
Well, it's like big news, and I do think they went about it like the right way, if there is such a thing. Because it's like sometimes you have to accept these hard truths, but it does, I guess, from a business standpoint, it kind of like makes sense. And I know that I remember when ESP guitars went like direct only, and it was kind of like, whoa, like what is, back then I kind of even didn't really like understand what that meant fully, but it seems like that's why they're able to still make such high quality stuff at such like prices that even kind of like teenage kids trying to figure it out can still have a really nice instrument to help inspire them further. It makes sense from a business standpoint, I guess. And businesses have just changed now. It's not you can't do business today like you did in the 50s. It won't work, or and there's just not like, you go on your business trip and you get your dealers for the year, and then you get home with orders, and you and your boys build it all, or or girls, whatever. And it just doesn't, that's not really the way of the world now. And there's so much stuff that I even bought the pedal on Reverb from a guitar store that we had gone on a business trip. And
okay.
Because I kind of wanted to do that. I was like, all right, I'm going to spend some money. Like, where should I put? I want to put it somewhere good, right? And a Centaur guitar in Portland, or I think Sandy technically, but and so I was like trying to support the dealer too, and that's kind of because I'm where I'm at in the world, and in this gear company, it's like I want to help the small guy too, or the smaller guys as well as the big guy. And I do feel good about like obtaining the pedal if it really is like this monolith of the gear industry is kind of like they're like, there's this release, and I'm sure it did well, but I want to help everybody out, right? This whole thing works when everybody helps everybody build each other up, and that's even why I like got it through the dealer and whatever, and just because they had it and it was kind of close. And but so it just is like changing the way we play the game, I guess. So it just, that we're on the brink of this change is maybe what feels so uneasy, I think. And I don't know, you think like the big fish are okay, but the big fish maybe are hurting too, or I don't know.
It's interesting with like, I was thinking about it in light of the NAMM show coming up. We have the NAMM show coming up in a couple of weeks here, and we're not going. If you look for us at the NAMM show, we will not be there. The plan was early on to just not go to the show this year, and that's just a decision we kind of collectively made to keep other things going that we have kind of working behind the scenes, and just stay focused on that. Plus we knew we had all these trips and things coming up, so we can't kind of afford to be gone for like a full month away from the shop. So
we want to do what we can to fill the orders and be here for you guys, and of course part of going to the NAMM show is like going and doing the NAMM show thing, but it's like we do want to base one, like get the orders out the door, and
Yeah.
we can't be in two places at once.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting to me because I do think that this NAMM show is going to be I'm very curious to see what it's going to be like. I've heard kind of rumors that there won't be a basement this year. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's where we were in 2020 for the booth in the basement, and I've heard rumors that a lot of gear companies, like similar type gear companies to us, like the pedal guys and the small guitar shops and other companies like that, will not actually even be going to NAMM and having a booth. So it could be the weird kind of fringe stuff, and then the big guys, and a little bit of like the small to medium guys, and that'll be interesting because I know a couple years ago a lot of the pedal people were just talking about, man, I'm so tired of doing NAMM, and I look at those companies thinking, well, you've kind of got like your network set up and you've got all that, so you don't really need to go to NAMM. You're not looking for a big break or anything like that, and so that'll be interesting as more companies go direct. The purpose of NAMM often is to go and get your dealers and to sign up the dealers, like you mentioned earlier, and so does that negate the NAMM show for a lot more people who start going direct? It really might, because you're going there to present that to the stores, and it's a great way to meet customers, but that's a really expensive way to meet customers. If you just go and everyone can find you, I mean, I'm all about that show for networking and business relationships. I think that's the real reason to be there. For a company like ours, I mean, we need to have conversations with people as opposed to like looking for 500 stores to sign up or something like that. But it's just interesting. So as more companies consider this maybe direct model or other ways of doing it, is that, like you said, we all support each other, but is that trickle down effect going to change the guitar shows for the future? And I believe it will, for sure. I think the vintage guitar shows will be just as strong. I think there's always going to be a market for the old cool stuff, and also like there's still a bit of that discovery of like, oh, who's the new hot guitar company at NAMM, or who's the new pedal company or whatever. So there'll always be a place for that. I just wonder how it all fits in the economics of the gear industry.
And then you wonder, it's just like, well, who's going to go direct next? And then now we're like thinking about that. Like someone said, oh, we're getting low on tubes, and everyone was like, tube shortage. So now it's like, oh wait, who's going to go direct now?
Yeah, that's true. That's funny.
But for a while now, you've definitely felt that like the local music stores have been changing, and it's the ones that really have got their like clientele or their niche like carved out. Like they know what they do well, and it's kind of like the things on the dealer end that some of the people, some people are really good like salesmen, and they really are, really want to help you out too, and like show you the right thing. And some people I know really hustle hard, and I've been helped out really well in some music stores, because I always pop in music stores everywhere. And so it's just like, a lot of those people do work so hard, and I hope it works out for the dealers too, and that they can still kind of figure out their bottom end. But it's those creative people that were able to kind of move those Chase Bliss pedals, because they can be off-putting with all the knobs and a lot of switches, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But so I think those creative people will hopefully find the way to, just move the energy in the different direction, or let's focus on this now. And it's just kind of a different game now, huh?
Yeah. Well, for those on YouTube, please leave some comments on what you think about kind of that decision. We're not going to make any official announcements about what we're going to do here today. We haven't even thought about it, to be honest. I don't plan on getting rid of dealers that we have. I think it has changed a lot for us. Dealers have never been a massive category, maybe like they were for Chase Bliss or someone like JHS, where that kind of drives the machine. That's never really been our business model from the beginning. But we still have a lot of great dealers, and we love working with them. And I don't plan on making that change. I think there's something to a lot of the arguments that I heard. There was something to like being in the store and trying out the pedal. And it sounds like they're going to do like a no hassle return thing, which I think is totally smart. But just going into the shop, trying the pedal, and just trying before you buy, and that's been our limitation. That's been one of the hard parts about selling pickups to stores, is that you can't try it before you buy it. And once you try it, you're already performing surgery on your guitar. You're already paying someone to put it in. So that's kind of why the retail side of our business has never been kind of a main core of revenue, because it's just there is a lot of hoops to jump through to experience our products. And so that's kind of the, kind of why we haven't really made a lot of big decisions about dealers either way, because it's just, there's too many other factors that contribute to what the reality is sometimes for that. So I think that's mostly what I got today for the show. But anything else you want to add kind of before we close out?
Well, no, just thanks everybody for tuning in, and please do subscribe too if you're not subscribed, and if you like seeing us, seeing our faces. And if you don't like seeing our faces, we also have tons of other videos where you just see our hands and stuff, or
just the
some
guitar,
guitar tones. If you're new, or all that good stuff. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll be getting more content out too. I just want to throw this in at the end. I know we've been a little slacking on the YouTube content, so we're gonna have a bunch of cool stuff planned over the next couple weeks to share with you all. So now that you're back, we can nerd out on guitar stuff together. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, the habit.
Excellent. Catch you guys later.
Bye, guys.